Speaking of dysfunction, the Philadelphia Eagles looking for a head coach. And yesterday, when Doug Pederson was fired, they immediately, according to InsideTheBirds.com, reached out to Lincoln Riley, the Oklahoma head coach, to gauge his interest. Now, Charean, earlier today, my theory was that Jeffrey Lurie fired Doug Pederson knowing full well who he wants to hire and knowing he was going to get him. The notion that they're gauging the interest of Lincoln Riley and don't even know whether or not he'd want it, and it's going to undermine the rest of the search if Riley says no thank you, that tells me that maybe they don't have their alternative already lined up. Wink, nod, here's the guy that's eventually going to get the job, unless they're doing the best they can to make it look like it's a wide-open search, because you don't pursue Lincoln Riley unless you know you're going to get Lincoln Riley. And look, maybe they end up getting Lincoln Riley, and maybe the rest of the search is just aimed at propping it up. But I have a feeling now that this was anyone but Doug Pederson. We have to move on from Doug Pederson, and then we'll figure out who the coach is going to be.
I agree with you, Mike. In the hours after this happened that they fired Doug Pederson, I was convinced that they fired Doug Pederson because they already had a head coach lined up, whether that was Deuce Staley or somebody else. They already had somebody in mind who they wanted and were going to go out and make that hire as quickly as possible. I mean, I know they have to comply with the Rooney Rule, but as quickly as possible make that hire. But you're right. When you reach out to somebody like Lincoln Riley, it's different than, say, an assistant coach in the NFL. I mean, you better know that you have a really good chance of hiring him, like Jacksonville with Urban Meyer. They think they have a good shot at hiring, so they basically put their search on hold until Urban Meyer makes up his decision. I don't know where they go if Urban Meyer doesn't take that job. But it's the same with the Eagles. You have to know or think you know that you can get Lincoln Riley once you go down that path. And I don't see any signs that they're going to get Lincoln Riley. But this is kind of a weird search, too, Mike, with what they're doing. And I don't know what they're doing. You know, when you change head coaches, I've always said you better have a better one. You better know you're going to get a better head coach than what you had. That's the only reason to make that move. So they better have somebody in mind that's going to be better than Doug Pederson.
And this really isn't an attractive job right now for a variety of reasons.
Yeah.
Last week I said it's Chargers, Jaguars, Jets, and the other three head coaching jobs, wait till next year. Don't take those jobs. Too many dynamics working against you. And in Philly, too many dynamics working against you. Two quarterbacks, job number one, you've got to have a plan for which one you want. Now, look, if you feel strongly about either Jalen Hurts or Carson Wentz, you got both under contract for multiple years into the future, good. But if you want to go off the board, that's going to make it even crazier. And usually a head coach has an idea of who he would like to have as his quarterback, unless it's a true short-list franchise quarterback, like when Tony Dungy landed in Indianapolis 19 years ago and Peyton Manning was already there. You're thinking, who's my quarterback going to be? And so that complicates things. The fan base, which is very demanding and can be very difficult for a coach to deal with, that's a complicating factor. The media, there's a complicating factor. And just this sense of dysfunction, not as bad as Houston. I mean, again, this is a team that just won a Super Bowl 3 years ago. It's astounding to me how quickly it can all fall apart. And you look at the best-run teams, and they find a way to keep their coach. They find a way to stay the course. And when you have a coach that took you to the playoffs 3 straight years, it better be damn bad. There better be proof of an organic personality change or just people deciding they hate each other, because it's incumbent on everyone. Once you found a formula that can work, you need to keep letting it work, because like you said, there's no guarantee you're going to find somebody better. There's no guarantee at all. And I'd love to know the full story of what happened between Jeffrey Lurie, Howie Roseman, and Doug Pederson, because it had to have been significant to cause Jeffrey Lurie to throw out the window a head coach who had been to the playoffs 3 straight years and had won a Super Bowl. The only other teams that have won a more recent Super Bowl are the Chiefs and the Patriots. The other 29 NFL franchises are saying, well, we wish we had a coach that won a Super Bowl 3 years ago.
You know what else is weird about this, Mike? Yesterday I was convinced that it had a lot to do with Carson Wentz, that Doug Pederson maybe didn't want Carson Wentz, wanted a different quarterback to start next season, and those above him wanted to save Carson Wentz. I was really convinced of that. But then you go and make a play for Lincoln Riley, who coached Jalen Hurts in college which that tells me something totally different. Now, maybe he wouldn't have Jalen Hurts as his starting quarterback, but he obviously knows Jalen Hurts very well. Jalen Hurts knows his offense. I don't know. The whole thing, again, to me, is very strange with the timing of getting rid of Doug Pederson, moving on, because something happened over the last week. I mean, Black Monday was a week ago, Mike, and they made the decision yesterday.
Yeah, very, very strange situation all around. And even though Eagles fans should be happy that there is a Lombardi trophy that was made not that long ago in the lobby of the facility, it feels like they are farther away from winning one than they were before they won their first one.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.